October 16th, 2009. A young boy who had just turned 17 decided to do something big with a project that he has done during that summer. It was a 14-part documentary on Walt Disney Animation Studios, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs all the way up to The Princess and the Frog, which he actually did all on his own. It wasn't really the greatest. I mean, there were a few mistakes and mispronunciations here and there, but the heart and passion was definitely there, and it really showed. But anyways, on that fateful day, he decided to publicly post it onto YouTube, which was actually his first video that he has ever done. But little did he know, that little moment would actually change his life forever. And here we are now, 5 years later, and around 250 different videos made all about animation and Disney, and I gotta tell you guys, my life has been changed for the better.
Now, to commemorate this special milestone, I decided to go and answer something that a lot of people really want to know about. And without sounding egotistical, me. Over the years, I received a lot of questions regarding what is it that I like or enjoy the most. Not as the historian or critic that I present myself in these videos, but just me personally. So why not go big this anniversary and make a full top 10 list about the studio that I started with, Walt Disney Animation Studios. However, this list isn't going to be about what are the best or the most revolutionary. These are just going to be about the films that I love, my personal favorites if you will. Now, I know that plenty of people will have questions about this, so let me clarify a few things. 1. Just because I talked about these films here, doesn't mean that there won't be a future classic reviews of them, or I might have already reviewed them. There's a difference between this and my reviews. 2. Obviously, I like more than just 10 Disney animated films. Even if a specific movie is not on my list, I still love watching it either way. Depending on which film we're talking about, of course. And 3, I'll be talking about each film one video at a time. And yes, I know people will point fingers at me since they'll say this is kind of copying what Doug Walker did a while back. It's no big deal, dude. Deal with it! But anyways, with all that said, I'm AniMat, and these are my top 10 personal favorite films from Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Now, to start things off, this one is actually a favorite amongst my family. It may not be the most popular, but it definitely is the most fun to watch. For number 10, this is The Great Mouse Detective.
Back in the 80s, Disney was having a really tough time to get back on their feet. Their films of the 70s weren't as memorable as the classics, since they didn't have that Uncle Walt touch. During the making of The Fox and the Hound, it was when the old animators passed the torch to the new ones, and when they were ready to make their first film on their own, it turned out to be an embarrassment. But then came The Great Mouse Detective, when they started to have their crap together. They learned their mistakes from The Black Cauldron and make something that's just all around fun. Not only that, but actually make a detective story. But since there's no mystery to it, it's replaced with the adventure. But that's okay, because it really works. It has the journey and intensity of an adventure, but it still holds the cleverness and the scientific aspect of a detective movie to make us really admire the character's intelligence. What makes this movie fantastic for me is all about the characters. Each and every single one of them are highly memorable and really fun to watch, from the kind-hearted Dawson to the loyal Toby to the nasty crew of Ratigan. Heck, I even like Olivia in this, and I'm not even a fan of those cutesy little kid characters. She has this little innocence in her and has great chemistry with the other characters like Dawson, Toby, and Basil. Which brings us to the main and best characters. On one side, we have Basil, who starts out a bit douchey towards Olivia and acting more selfish, but then later becomes really likable, showing his eccentric personality, great intelligence, and passion to take down Ratigan. And speaking of which, we also have this guy. Vincent Price himself said that this is one of his personal favorite roles he had ever played, and it really shows. He's the typical bad guy bent on world domination, but he loves every minute of it, dancing around and giggling with glee for every terrible thing he does.
Last night, and my first, as supreme ruler of all Mousedom!
And with the combination of a dual personality by being calm and collective and violent and beastly, Ratigan makes an amazing villain. Definitely up there with some of the best. If I do have one problem with this film, it would probably be the opening. Oh my Jesus! Yeah, that. Okay, first off, the movie literally opens with one of the most what the fridge Disney moments. Second, it leaves you with this embarrassing feeling that you got scared the crap out of you by this guy.
I was in the toy store, getting uniforms, when I heard a aroo, aroo.
You're not coming through.
But the biggest problem with this is that it starts out with the wrong tone. For a while, you have this cautious feeling if that stupid bat comes out to do that Five Nights at Freddy's bullcrap, which he kinda does at one point, but not as effective. But at least it wears off after the toy shop scene. Add in some great and intense animation, especially with the clock tower scene that's the first to use computer animation in an animated feature, you got something that's best described like Basil himself. Can be a bit of a jerk at first, but then becomes really clever, adventurous, and of course, a lot of fun.
From the brain that brought you the Big Ben caper, the head that made headlines in every newspaper, and wondrous things like the Tower Bridge job, that cunning display that made Londoners sob.